So basically, there are so many things you can look out for, so many things that you may want or would want for yourself. But the key to getting all of them will eventually be value, right? So it's one of the best things or the most important thing you can actually do for yourself. Add value to yourself. That comes into you developing yourself. So, and the most basic part of it is actually you learning a skill. So that way you've added value to yourself that can be of value to others. And there are different ways value will affect you. The first thing value will do to you when you add value to yourself. I'm trying to make sure we don't go back to defining values, but as we talk about some of these things, you see where it applies to you and what you need to do. So, one of the things value will do to you is make you kind of self-sufficient. That is, you are not a liability to anybody. First of all, put you in a place where you are able to know what to do. If you need something, you know what you are supposed to do. It equips you with what you can exchange for any other thing that you need. So, and talking about skills, for instance, any skill you have at all, be it soft skill, be it hard skill, be it tangible skill, be it intangible skills, whichever one, as long as it's in demand, as long as it's something you can exchange for something, as long as it's something that somebody else needs, it will always help you stand in that place where you don't have to beg your way into whatever you need to do. So, like I said, the first thing that will happen is help you to be kind of self-sufficient. So, if you need a particular amount of money, you know where you are supposed to go. You know what you are supposed to do. Like you need 100,000 for instance, and all you can do is, or let me say, the skill you have is selling something. You cannot. Please, a few seconds. Take it. So, sorry for the break in transmission. So, if you need a particular amount of money, for instance, instead of going to your uncle, your brother, please for me, please give me, you automatically first of all would think about um if I can just get a painting contract, if I can just see so design. Those are the first thing it will do for you. So it's automatically remove you from the category of those who beg their way through the things they want to do. So the other aspect of it is it doesn't just change, it doesn't just remove you from the category of people who beg, it also make you of value to others. Now, your let me take David City for instance. Your laptop has problem now. You have taken it to an engineer to fix it. As a B, as much as you like your siblings, there's no amount of begging they want to beg you that will make you give them the money you are supposed to give to an engineer to fix your system. So, and that also works for people who come to you to do this, to do their designs. There's no amount of begging somebody in their family want to beg them that will make them give the money that they are supposed to give to you to design for them and give it to their brother to probably use it to have lunch or something. So it comes in those categories such that when you begin to add value to yourself, first of all, it comes to a place of self essence, self appreciation, um, self re-evaluation, so that when you look at yourself, you begin to see some worth in yourself. And those are the things that also help you determine the kind of place you want to stay, right? If you are doing if you are doing painting work, for instance, and you are in a community where they are just building, a developing area where everybody is building, they are constructing, they are building, you're most likely going to get more jobs from that area than when you're in a place where everywhere is set already. Because where everything is set, where they are not doing construction, on very few occasions will you find them wanting to do renovation. And even if they want to do renovation, they have people who made those initial painting and everything for them. They rather want to call those people than introduce a new one, right? But if you're in an environment where people are just building, constructing new buildings and stuff like that, and your work is into painting, all you have to do is to keep approaching those people, the painters, the house owners, the bricklayers, all the people working there. One or two of them will be able to say, okay, I know somebody. It's easier for you to get work around that area than when you are in a place where everything is set. So it's moved from you being of some worth or of some value to people now looking at you as important to them. Because when you become important to people, it means you are actually solving their problem. And there's no way you add value to yourself that one way or the other you will not be solving somebody's problem, right? And what differentiates us, or what differentiates big companies from small companies is big companies solve problems on a bigger scale, while small companies still solve their problems on a smaller scale. And that's basically the difference. So, value as to yourself has to do with you reading books, learning a skill, watching documentary, following people who have been where you want to be, doing what you want to do, going places you want to go. That way you learn lessons that are properly difficult to explain. They just automatically become part of you as you follow them, as you do those things. So value is always one thing that give you leverage over others. such that you can be almost anywhere in the world and be relevant starting from your immediate community. So if you have very good value, you can go from here to UK. In fact, even go to the village and still be able to make ends meet and still be able to do the things that you need to do and still be able to get the kind of resources you need as you relate with people. Because when people see that you're not coming beggarly, you are coming to offer them something, you can be rest assured that you will have their attention and you will have their resources. So I'm talking about this because to me, this looks like the most important part of it. When you add some worth to yourself, and not just you adding it to yourself, but other people can also see it. It's a difference in entirely. Your people see you differently, and when they relate with you, they are not relating with you as somebody who has come to disturb them. They are relating with you as somebody who has something to offer, somebody they have to listen to, somebody they have to consider because what this person carries is also something they need. So it makes a lot of sense to try all you can to make sure you add value to yourself consistently. Now, on the skills that we're talking about, which is a form of you adding value to yourself, you have to know it to a point where you can actually use it to solve people's problem. For instance, if you say you're a marketer and you cannot even successfully advertise something, you cannot successfully tell a story about a product, the probability that you'll be able to solve other people's problem will be very difficult. So if you do UI UX or you do graphics design and you cannot make a simple logo, it becomes difficult. A data analyst and you cannot even tell when the data is consistent or not. You cannot carry out simple visualization. It becomes difficult for you to solve other people's problem. So what I'm saying in essence is most of this value you're going to add to yourself will start from within. Of course, most of those things are outside, but you take them in, then they become part of you, then you can release it to help people around you. And that is value as it relates to us. Because those are the things that will determine the kind of community we belong to, the kind of people we roll with, the kind of people that we allow into our space, the kind of solution we prefer to people. Because people will come with problem that is very big to them. To them, it's a serious problem, it's a very big problem, and they need it solved. But if you have not so much developed yourself, you also might just as well see it as a big problem. And by the time you see it as a big problem, it becomes difficult for you to solve. But if you have developed yourself to a point where their big problem can easily become a simple problem to you, then you can solve their problem and charge them for it. And if you do it fast enough and do it well enough, they begin to recommend you to other people, begin to refer people to you. What I'm saying in essence is As much as you have the opportunity, make sure you keep learning, keep learning, keep learning, keep learning, keep learning. This learning of a thing is also one of the things that determines the kind of movie I watch. Even when I say I want to relax, tired of the screen, I just want to sit down and watch a movie, pass the time by. Baby, please mute your mic.
Oh, sorry. No.
So, when I say I'm tired of work, probably I'm beginning to feel somehow, and all I'm looking to is to just sit down somewhere and relax. I want to see a movie in between. Some of those value or the things I want to become, the kind of things I want to begin to see in my life determine the kind of movie I watch. Because there's almost nothing you want to do now that they have not made a movie around that same particular area. You want to be a business person, there are a lot of movies on business. There are a lot of movies on how business people behave. There are a lot of movies on how business people think. There are a lot of movies on where business people live. So, if you want to be an expert in a particular field, if you check, you will always find one or two movies that resonate with you, that shows what somebody who has done better than you are doing presently has done. And you can from there see one or two things that you can learn from it. So it always starts from the things you have taken in that has become part of you. Then you have come to a point that you can release it to help other people. And that is value on one part, right? And the most important part of it will always be you, yourself. What are you helping yourself to do? What are you helping other people to do conveniently? If you let people do trainings on finding money, on getting rich, or becoming wealthy, everybody will always want to talk about you adding value to other people. Why many times it kind of look vague, it has always remained the truth. And this will actually lead me to different kinds of value that's now available. Before now, what people believe to be value, or like some people call it a dignity of labor, is that you go out, you go work for somebody. And in that case, you have to either be a banker, be a doctor, be an engineer, and which other one is popular? Any other things like that. But most importantly, those things they used to know compared to what we have now, they are all crude means of doing those work. Today we have all kinds of engineer, from civil engineer to mechanical engineer to software engineer to data engineer to prompt engineer, all of those things. There is so much and a lot around that area that if you tell your parents now that this is what you do and you are doing it at the comfort of your home, they will still advise you to go get a job. Even if that work you are doing is paying you a 1 billion naira today, some of them still believe you are supposed to be leaving your house and be going somewhere to do something. That you're supposed to be in your tie and shoe and leave the house in the morning and come back in the evening. That is what they used to know. There was a time where your value in this part of the world is determined by how the size of your farmland, right? How much of cocoa you harvest every year, how much of yam you harvest every year, and stuff like that. But we have moved past that level. Here we are now. Value can be as intangible as you helping somebody to post something on your status. It can be as intangible as you putting a specific comment on somebody's post. Value can be as intangible as you wearing the clothes that somebody is selling and they snap you and they upload it, or they record a video and they upload it, and that way you have rendered value. Okay, so it goes from it goes in different levels, and these are the things that have attracted people. Now value is as intangible as you making people laugh this day, that you just sounded funny. It can be value to people, because a lot of people are going through depression, they are going through a lot of difficult times. So if you can help them laugh for some minutes, they will be paying you handsomely for it. So your value can be in the area of hard work, building houses for people, being the one to carry, to mix the cement, lay the bricks and everything. And it can be you just sitting with your computer and designing the house. Those are two different people, and they do it at different levels and they charge different amounts. Value can be you just telling people how to arrange stuff in their house. You are not the one buying whatever they want to buy. You are not the one carrying whatever they want to carry. Yours is just to come and tell them, oh, this couch should be here. This flower vase should be here. This fan should be here. Oh no, don't let us use fan. AC should be here. Your TV should be here. That's all you have to do for some people for you to be of value to them. And these are still values that have things to do directly with you and others. So it's you, first of all, knowing those things, then secondly, offering it to people to make their life easier, and thirdly, you being able to communicate it in a way that those people can understand what you're doing or what you say you want to do, how you can make their life easy. So you may want to check some other things around that area to see the things that really work well for you. But for many of you, you already chose a path. And all I can say is just follow it up. UI UX, you are not building the website. You are just arranging things how it should be, helping them put the appropriate color where it's supposed to be, telling them to put the title here, put the bomb here, and things like that. As a software engineer, for instance, software developer, whatever it is, just is to sit down with the codes, make sure what people think comes to life. So when people are thinking, I want my customers to just press one button on their phone and all the other they want to make just automatically process. You are the one to do that. You put all of those things in the app, in that system, how they want it to display, how they want everything. It's all in their own thinking. You are like the transmitter or the translator, whatever it is. That you bring those thoughts into reality in that software so that the person at the other end, when they use it, they only see it to be seamless. They don't know how much work you are put into play for it to come out like that. And that's you putting value out there. So basically, if you want to define value, you can simply say value is anything you do that makes the life of any other person easier. That is basically value. So your dry cleaner, he didn't buy the clothes, he didn't make the clothes. All they have to do is just make sure the clothes looks clean and crisp, well arranged. How he washes it does not concern you. How he irons it does not concern you. All you just need is when you receive that your clothes, it looks good and it's properly arranged. You paint a house for somebody, for instance, many times, even after they choose their color or whatever they want to tell you to help them do, you don't even know how long it's going to take you. You don't know how many of you that will be working there. All that they are concerned about is when they come, the house must be appealing, must be pleasing to them. And that's value. So anything that you do to help others live a life that is easy, anything you do that help other people live life more comfortably is value. So people will pay heavily for it anytime, any day. Anytime, any day, people will pay for it. So the path you've chosen and the things you decided to work on, just keep going in that direction and do it more and more and more. So that is all of that. But there is a part that is value when we talked about money and finances. And that today is usually a very sensitive part of human life. for few reasons. This other side of the value, which is money and finances, is usually a result of the first part that we talked about, which is what you offer people, what you do for people. I was telling someone that when you look at crypto space, for instance, you can look at the traders and every other person as though they are not adding value to anybody. Apart from, okay, let's take it this way. If you look at the developers, they come with a story that this is what their project is doing and this is the solution is doing to the world. Other than that, every other thing that traders do is like trying to get something from that, trying to make more money. From the side of the developers, their value is one, the core of the problem they said they are solving, which if you take Chainlink for instance, Chainlink main purpose is to help extract real world data and bring it into blockchain. But sincerely speaking, that value will not supply them enough resources to do many other things they need to do. They need people to put money in. They need people to buy some of their tokens, to invest it, to trade it. That is when, because it has the price that people are trading it that will determine what their own reserve will worth. So when Bitcoin came, he said they want to decentralize finances as we know it, so that when you deal with finances, you don't necessarily have to go to bank. You don't have to need a bank manager before you can do what you want to do with your money. And they successfully do it, right? But it still would have remained what it was if that's all it does. If there's no room for people to own it, to put a price on it, to trade it, if there is no token for people to actually do that. But one thing is true, that every time there is a value you want to give out to people, be it something that is mental that you just thought of, or something that you have to do with your hands that is hard work, until there is actually a price on it, that thing does not have a value. So when you paint for people, for instance, and there's no price on it, it can just be as good as you wasting your time. So true value comes from that place where it is worth something. So if somebody gives you a car, for instance, it can just be any other gift to you and may not really be worth much until you have tried to buy car by yourself and you see how much it costs. Imagine somebody who doesn't need a car, who doesn't need a car, who does not see any reason to use a car, who doesn't even think car is anything serious, being given, say Lexus, say Toyota, say Mercedes, any car at all. Compare that person to somebody who has been saving to buy a car for the past 3 years. Their reaction will be different. And that's just what it is also. For as long as your work can go out free, it lacks a true value. So when you work for people, when you do something for people, let there be a price on it. And let me give you a trick for everybody that is doing one thing or the other for people. If you work for somebody and that thing is worth, let's say $100 for instance, and they are looking for discounts, especially if it's not a product, if it's a service, like you want to help somebody to repair phone, you want to paint for somebody, you want to do coaching for somebody, you want to design for somebody, build something for somebody, whatever it is at all, that is a service that you're doing to people, don't give discounts. So if you say it costs $100, instead of telling them, okay, because it's you, I'll take $90, or I'll take $50, I'll take $40, emphasize the value in what you want to do for them. So instead of, because when you give them that discount, it's that thing you have done simply also suggests that this thing could actually be done at actual price of that discount, of that discounted rate you give them. So if it costs $100 and they are begging you to take $70 because that's what they have, that's how much they could afford, blah 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 blah. Emphasize the value of the things you are doing for them and let them know that that's your price, you can't go below that. And if at all you have to do it for them, do it for free. And when I say do it for free, I mean do it without taking money from them. And then make sure you give them a receipt that shows that the discount you give them is 100%. So when you give them a discount of 100%, two things will be on their mind. One is this thing cannot be done less than $100, at least with you. And the second is this guy did this that cost this amount, did not take anything. So somehow, some way, they know that they owe you one. So what that then says is if that job is properly done and they know they owe you one, they start doing referral for you. For every other person they come across that they know needs that service, you are going to be the one they refer. So when you are at that point of making that decision, always bear in mind, what are the things I have to do? This thing cannot go less than this. And then when you do it and you don't take money, they know that they owe you one. So you may be asking, what about in the case where I have to buy some stuff and do this and do that? It's why when you write your bills or your quotes, you always make sure there is a place of your service. Then there is a place of the materials needed. And that way you can probably give them your service charge or whatever it is. But personally, I don't advise that, and I don't do it. And the way I write my quotes, I don't separate my service from the materials I have to buy. Because the money I'm going to take from you for my service is scattered inside the material I want to buy for you. So eventually, it's either you are doing the work with me or you go do it with somebody else. And most of the time, there's no discount because it is service. And that service took you some long hours, some long days, some long months and years to perfect, at least to that point where you are. And to now put a discount on it would be injustice to yourself. So that's just that about that. Now, on the money we're talking about, when it comes to money and finances, there are certain senses one just need to have. And, and one of it is being careful with how you negotiate and how you allow people to negotiate whatever you are billing them. The other part is you know how to keep what you make. So I want you to bear this in mind that how rich you become is not totally a function of how much you make, but a function of how much you are able to keep. So because of that, you want to save regularly, again and again, consistently. You want to cut out every expense that is not necessary to what you want to achieve. And then when you buy things that are necessary, it makes sense to only go for quality at once. Like when you do something once and for all. That way you'll be able to keep a lot of what you make. And by the time you're able to keep a lot of what you make, you always have something in your reserve. So eventually you will not be like Nigeria that spend their reserve. Now they are in debt, they are collecting money from everywhere. So why is because your reserve gives you leverage. Anytime, any day, should you have an emergency or something important that you need to quickly execute, your reserve can always help you to step in and do it with grace. But when you don't have anything, it even becomes difficult for you to seek help because you don't even have a starting point. Now, Since we're at that point of savings, let's talk about store of value for the skills and other things you have to do for others. The store of value is yourself. So you learn those things, you retain it such that you can offer it to people. Now, when it comes to finances or money, your store of value can be in different things. And that will mean you buying stuff that do not depreciate over time. The easiest and the common one around here is you going into real estate. So, and your real estate can start from you buying a plot of land. Not necessarily because you want to build it, not necessarily because you want to um, do anything with it, but that it should be there for as long as it can be, so that the money that comes into you will not just go the way it came. So that the money that comes in can be in a place for you where it has relevance in your future. You buy just a plot of land, get your documents, and leave it there. Go and pursue your masters, your PhD. In fact, go and marry, go and have children. 10, 40 years, you come back to it. The price you bought it will not be the same price you are going to sell it. And eventually, let's say you are now big, you decide to now say, okay, you want to use that land, you want to build it. I mean, the price you bought it will be nothing compared to price you would now have bought it if you just want to buy. So that is one way for store of value, land or landed properties. In fact, without deceiving ourselves, we just say land because houses depreciate over time. Depends on the area. Why is because once you build, for it not to depreciate, it means you have to keep servicing it at least once every year. And if people are living there, something can happen to it. So many times it's easier with land. So if eventually you have money and you decide to build it, just make sure you maintain it to keep the standard of that house up. And sometimes it can include painting every year. Yeah. Checking the walls, see if they are still intact. Many other things like that people do to make sure they maintain it. So when you buy land, it comes with the list of maintenance. So you buy it in a secure place, you keep it that way, you are storing value, which is the second form. The first one for the service is you by yourself being the store of value. Secondly, storing your financials, your money and stuff like that, and go into real estate, buy land and keep. If your money is plenty, you can buy as much as 50,000 acres and just leave it there. Now, other one is you can buy gold. Gold really pumps, like the price may not do any serious movement up, but at least you keep it anytime, any day. You can be rest assured that the least you'll be able to sell it will be the amount you bought it. You buy pure gold, 24 carats, 1 million carats, you keep it like that. And for a very long time, you come back to it, it will still be a good value, very much a good value. Now, the other one, which is the recent one, is Bitcoin. Well, many people have seen Bitcoin as a payment option, but in real sense, if you look at how long it takes for transactions to process, the nature of Bitcoin, you know it's best as store of value. Okay, the 1004 I just sold was actually bought for I think 800 when I bought it. So, and there was no leverage, just bought it, I kept it there, right? So, Bitcoin is a good store of value. There will be bear market, there will be bull market, whichever one. It's always a better option than some others. Why? Is because it's one of the most decentralized, so nobody can easily manipulate it like any country will decide to do with their currency. So you store value in your landed property, you store value in crypto. The other one that people do is shares, which depend, depending on when you buy and which one you buy. Because if you buy when the business is still very small, it can really go up. And then you'll be good for it. Then you check the history, financial report of that business before you buy their stocks or their shares. Because if you don't, you may just as well be buying something that will lead you where you don't want to go. So that way you store value. Other way people store value in is in some jewelries. In jewelries. So there are jewelries that come in limited editions. There are some Rolex that maybe only 10 people will have it in the world. Some neck chains that of high quality, you can have them in gold, you can have them in gold mostly, then some of them with some other precious stones like emerald and stuff like that, diamond. So those are also ways of storing your value. Why it is needed to store value is because from time to time there will be ups, there will be downs. Today you are making your money in billions, and tomorrow before you know it, it's coming in thousands. So if there are no values stored when you are making them in billions, now that they are coming in thousands, it will seem like a hard time that is difficult to cope with. But if your value are stored up already, when things seem to be going south, those values you store will be your leverage, and they will help you to keep up and do proper job of what you're supposed to do. So that's that. Yeah, I think that's basically all I want to mention about values. So people will come for it. They think that you have, they think that you do, and by having them readily available is what make that value relevant. So value can be very relevant or irrelevant. Yeah. So if you are supposed to do, if you're a painter now, for instance, and now I'm building my house, I'm calling you, come and do this, come and do this, come and do this. And that's when you want to quickly go and watch one video how to paint the corner of the house without touching the ceiling. Oh boy. By the time you are done watching the video, somebody else most likely would have taken that job. Now, this is not saying that the skill you have is not relevant, but because you are not available at that point in time, it becomes irrelevant to me from you because somebody else has taken it. So you can have a very useful skill, value, relevant in the environment you are, but become irrelevant in certain situations and conditions when people need it the most if it's not available. It's like you are hungry and the person selling soup is the one coming. The person selling food is not coming at that point in time. You see, it's very, very much irrelevant. And now that you have eaten from somewhere, from something, whatever, and you now want to wash your clothes, you need detergent or you need bar soap, whichever one. And the woman that is selling food is now working and advertising. You just look at her and be like, when I was looking for this, where were you? So, your value, as much as you like it, as much as you have it and you can operate it very well, can offer it to people, it has to be readily available. Like some people will say, you don't go to battle to go, you don't go to war to learn how to battle. How do they say that thing? You have to be battle ready. That's not when you go and learn to shoot. That's not when you go and learn how to snipe. That's not when how to. That's not where to go and learn how to use your grenade. Before you go to war at all, you must know how to do those things. If you shoot your gun and it's not coming up, you must know what to do and stuff like that. So it's the way it works that if your value must remain relevant, it must be readily available for people that need it. And that will make it really, really, really valuable. Right? So that's that on value. Let's go and work on the things that we have. Save as much as you can save. Store your value in those things. Because let me tell you, as much as you as much as cash is important, if you are not into certain business, it doesn't make sense for you to carry value. I mean to carry cash, right? So your cash in your bank, especially if you are dealing in Naira now, it does not really make sense. Really. Doesn't make sense. If you want to have any cash, just have something to take care of your daily needs. You want to buy food, the money is there. Yeah, basically that. Or really that you want to that you want to have money that is 1 naira today and you get there tomorrow, is still able to do what 1 naira of yesterday can do, then you should not be holding fiat. The reason some of us seem to appreciate dollar now is not because it's not also depreciating. It's because it holds greater value when you compare it to our naira. So then what am I saying in essence is those ways of storing value, they are always the best option when you want to keep the value of your money intact. When you want to keep the value of the resources you have, they are always better when you keep them in some assets like real estate, like precious stones, gold and diamonds and the likes. Because that's the only way you can be rest assured that the gold of yesterday will come back. The gold of yesterday will come back there today and is still worth as much as it was yesterday. In fact, even more. But $1 of yesterday is not $1 of today. Sincerely. And so naira of yesterday, 1 naira of yesterday is not 1 naira of today. One may seem to have one edge over the other, but they are all having the same problem of depreciation. So for value, that's all I have to say. Our time is fast gone. Those who want us to talk about priority, can we still do it today or we wait for next week? Am I by myself?
No, I'm here with you.
Make we go dey find precious stone like this to me.
Yes, so
Walai.
maybe there's a good day Oshogbo, may una go bring am.
Let's go find precious stone.
Yes, so
No, you better.
But now precious I go first find.
before you find the
But go
stone,
call what precious see.
see
I can't
wahala.
see the stone.
Once you
You
see
got to
pressure,
share.
you
Oh.
suppose see the stone. To pity
Now
you.
precious.
Shey you remember? Shey you remember that soundtrack that was trending there that time? Precious.
I mean, oh,
Uh-huh.
precious.
I just want you to picture it that
Precious.
way in case you find precious first.
No, nothing goes up ever for.
All right now, could see problem.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Thank you for today. We go put our mind to
Yes, sir.
at least I don't learn new thing about my negotiation power like this. Makes sense. Yes, you go. Thank you.
Adupe.
I guess we should. I want us to talk more on opportunities in our field, and how to amass and prepare or position for opportunities next week.
Opportunities.
Because as much as we are trying to negotiate, most of us we not even get what we want to negotiate about. Do you understand? It is not until we it's not until we are positioned for opportunities, and then that opportunity comes show. We can now start. Okay, this is our best. We can negotiate for whatever we want to do. Do you get what I'm trying to talk about?
Yeah.
So I feel me, I'll personally need that though. Now why I talk am.
Okay. So
Maybe
that
like say
place.
my guys don't go sleep. That about glitters today also.
Sleep care. Round by Lambo. If I hear say I sleep,
You sure say you there awake?
I do ever gallant.
Mm.
Glitters, we know they hear you.
Yeah, I think I can tell you to hear me well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, way to work.